Welcome, gents. Have you ever noticed how the people who never ask to lead often become the ones everyone trusts the most? That is the quiet reality of Sigma males. They do not set out to be in charge, yet their strength, clarity, and discipline make them stand out in ways that others cannot ignore. While many are busy chasing titles and competing for recognition, Sigma males simply live by their own standard, and that alone creates influence. Leadership has little to do with shouting the loudest or holding the highest position. True leadership shows up in moments of pressure, when chaos needs calm and when confusion needs direction. Sigma males naturally step into that space, not because they demand it, but because their steady presence gives people something solid to rely on. It is not about control, it is about trust. And trust is earned through action, not words. Think about it. People do not follow because someone tells them to. They follow because they sense stability and vision. Sigma males remind us that when you master yourself, you end up guiding others without even trying. That is what makes their leadership powerful, because it grows from authenticity rather than ambition. So if you ever feel like you are not the type to chase recognition, take heart. You do not need to. The more you stay grounded, disciplined, and true to your values, the more others will see you as a leader in their own eyes. Sometimes the crown finds you when you never asked for it. Let's get started, gents. Number 1. Their discipline exposes the laziness around them and forces others to adjust. Have you ever noticed how being disciplined can make other people uncomfortable? It is not because you are doing anything to them directly, but because your commitment highlights what they are unwilling to do. This is exactly what happens with Sigma males. Their discipline is so consistent that it exposes the laziness around them, and suddenly everyone else feels the pressure to step up or get left behind. Think about it in everyday life. Imagine a group of friends who all say they want to get healthier. Most of them talk about it, maybe make half attempts here and there, but one of them quietly starts waking up early, eating better, and actually following through. No lectures, no judgment, just action. Over time, his results speak louder than any words could. Now the rest of the group cannot ignore it. Some feel inspired, others feel guilty, but either way, his discipline has shifted the atmosphere without him saying a thing. That is what the Sigma effect looks like. It is the same in workplaces. A Sigma male does not complain about lazy co-workers or beg for recognition. He just stays focused, handles his tasks with precision, and lets his results speak. The quiet truth is that this kind of discipline leaves no room for excuses. It makes others face the gap between what they say and what they actually do. That silent contrast is what forces change, whether people like it or not. And here's the part that makes it even more powerful. The Sigma male is not trying to compete with anyone. He is simply living by his own standard, one that does not bend easily. But when people see this standard in action, they are confronted with a choice. Either rise to the level he operates on or be exposed by their own lack of effort. This is why discipline is not just personal. It has ripple effects. It shows the world what is possible when you stay consistent, and it makes everyone else question why they are not doing the same. Number 2, their refusal to follow weak traditions creates new paths that others rush to walk on. Have you ever noticed how some people refuse to follow traditions that no longer make sense? They do not do it out of rebellion or to look different. They simply refuse to live by rules that keep people stuck in cycles of weakness. This is exactly what sets Sigma males apart. Their refusal to follow weak traditions creates new paths that others, often without realizing, end up rushing to walk on. Think about how many traditions survive only because this is how it has always been done. Families, workplaces, even entire cultures cling to habits that add no real value. For example, picture a family where every son is expected to choose a certain career because generations before them did the same. One Sigma male decides not to follow that script. Instead, he studies what actually matters to him and builds his own career. At first, he's criticized for being stubborn or disrespectful. But years later, when his success becomes visible, those same relatives encourage the younger ones to do exactly what he did. His refusal to bend to a weak tradition opens the door for everyone else. The same thing happens in society. Weak traditions tell people to stay in unfulfilling jobs, keep unhealthy relationships, or settle for less because it is safe. A Sigma male refuses to accept that. By carving his own way, He shows others that those limits were imaginary all along. And the moment people see proof that a different way works, they start following the very path they once mocked. This is the power of refusing to follow blindly. It is not about being rebellious for its own sake. It is about holding on to what is strong and letting go of what keeps people small. By doing so, Sigma males become silent trailblazers. They do not announce their path, yet once it is visible, it attracts a crowd that is eager to step where they have already walked. Number 3, they never fight for the crown, but their strength makes the crown find them. Have you ever seen someone become the center of respect and influence without ever asking for it? That is the story of Sigma males. They never fight for the crown, but their strength makes the crown find them. This is not about luck or chance. It is about the quiet power of living with consistency, focus, and an unshakable sense of self. In everyday life, you can see this play out clearly. Picture a sports team where some players argue for attention, always shouting to be noticed. Then there is one player who keeps his head down, trains harder than anyone else, and performs with precision when it matters most. He does not demand leadership, yet when the team needs direction, everyone looks to him. The crown finds him because his strength has already proven he can carry the weight. It works the same way in workplaces. Many people try to impress their bosses with flattery or loud ambition, but the Sigma male lets his work speak. He is the one who delivers when things get tough, the one who does not collapse under pressure. Over time, those around him begin to trust his ability more than the noise of others. Before long, he is the one people follow, not because he fought for the position, but because his actions made it impossible to overlook him. The crown in this sense is not just leadership, it is influence, respect, and authority that naturally gravitates towards strength. A Sigma male does not need to compete for it because true strength does not beg for recognition. It simply shines in a way that commands it. This is why they stand out. They teach us that real power is not about forcing your way to the top, but about becoming the kind of person that the top cannot ignore. When strength is real, the crown has no choice but to bow to it. Number 4, they practice self-control at a level that makes chaos irrelevant, and that steadiness is what people trust. Have you ever wondered why some people remain calm even when everything around them is falling apart, while others panic, complain, or lose their balance? Sigma males practice self-control at a level that makes chaos irrelevant. This steady presence is what people trust, because when storms hit, most are searching desperately for someone who does not shake. Think about everyday life. Imagine a workplace where deadlines are piling up, technology is failing, and everyone is running in circles. You can hear the stress in their voices and see it in their rushed decisions. In the middle of that noise, there is one person who does not raise his voice or lose his focus. He breaks the problem into steps, addresses what can be done, and ignores the drama. Without saying much, he becomes the anchor others cling to. That is how Sigma males turn steadiness into quiet influence. The same truth shows up in personal life. Picture a family facing a financial crisis or unexpected trouble. While most members are worried, one person remains clear-minded, calm, and strategic. Instead of feeding fear, he provides direction. He does not deny the challenge, but he refuses to let it own him. Soon, the rest of the family finds strength in his calmness. His self-control does not just keep him steady, it lifts everyone around him. What makes this powerful is that the steadiness is not an act. It comes from discipline, from years of mastering emotions, rather than letting emotions master them. A Sigma male understands that chaos is always temporary, but how you respond to it defines the outcome. This is why people end up trusting them. Not because they are the loudest voice, but because when everything is shaking, they are the ones who remain unshaken. And in a world that thrives on noise and panic, that kind of control is rare, and it is priceless. Number 5, their focus on results rather than status automatically places them above those chasing titles. Have you ever noticed how some people spend their whole lives chasing titles, yet never really achieve anything meaningful? They are more concerned with how others see them than with the value they actually create. Sigma males move differently. Their focus is never on status, but on results. And that alone automatically places them above those who waste their energy chasing recognition. Think about it in everyday life. In many workplaces, there are always a few who want the fancy title, the corner office, or the public praise. They spend their time trying to impress rather than deliver. Then there is the one person who stays locked in on the actual work, making sure the project is completed with excellence. While the title chasers are busy polishing their image, the results-driven person is quietly building something that cannot be denied. Before long, leadership cannot ignore him because results speak louder than any self-promotion. The same applies in personal life. Imagine a group of friends who all brag about what they want to do. One talks about becoming wealthy, another talks about gaining influence, but months go by and nothing changes. Then there is the one who actually takes small, steady steps toward his goals. He does not announce every move, yet he achieves what the others only dream about. Suddenly the group looks to him for advice because results have already crowned him with credibility. This is the quiet power of Sigma males. They understand that status fades, titles lose their shine, and applause never lasts. What remains is what you actually built, solved, or achieved. By keeping their eyes fixed on results, they naturally outgrow those who are busy chasing approval. In the end, the world always bows to results, not titles. And that is why Sigma males rise without asking. Their work, their discipline, and their outcomes become the proof that no title can ever replace. Number 6. Their words carry weight because they speak from thought, not impulse. Have you ever noticed how some people talk endlessly but say very little, while others only speak when necessary and yet everyone listens? That is the difference Sigma males bring into conversations. Their words carry weight because they speak from thought, not impulse. Instead of rushing to fill the silence, they take time to process, reflect, and choose their words carefully. And that is exactly why when they finally speak, their voice cuts through the noise. Think about everyday situations. In a group discussion at work, most people rush to share their opinions, sometimes just to be heard. The room gets filled with half-baked ideas and unnecessary chatter. Then one person who has been silent the entire time finally speaks. His words are clear, sharp, and practical. Suddenly, the entire room shifts focus to him, not because he demanded attention, but because his thoughtfulness made his words impossible to ignore. That is the Sigma approach to communication. It is the same in personal life. Imagine a friend who never reacts in the heat of the moment. While others may argue, snap back, or regret what they said later, this friend waits, listens, and only responds once his mind is steady. His calm, deliberate words often end conflicts instead of fueling them. People begin to trust him because they know he will not say something careless. The power here is not in talking less, but in valuing words more. A Sigma male understands that language can build or destroy, and he treats it with respect. His speech comes from a place of clarity, not ego, and because of that, his voice naturally commands trust. In a world where so many speak without thinking, the one who pauses, reflects, and speaks with precision will always stand out. That is why Sigma males do not need to shout to be heard. Their words carry weight on their own. Number 7. They move like shadows in the background, yet shape the direction of the crowd in front. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful influence often comes from those who are not standing in the spotlight? Sigma males move like shadows in the background, yet somehow they shape the direction of the crowd in front. They do not push, they do not shout, and they do not demand attention. Instead, they guide quietly, and before anyone realizes, their influence has already set the tone for everyone else. Think about it in everyday life. Imagine a classroom where most students are distracted, talking, or only half listening. In the back sits one student who stays focused, takes notes, and asks sharp questions. Without even trying, his seriousness shifts the energy. The teacher begins to direct more value toward him, and soon other students start following his lead just to keep up. He never asked to be a leader, yet his quiet presence set the standard. The same thing happens in workplaces. While some employees try to impress by being loud or overly visible, the Sigma male works with steady consistency. He does not need constant acknowledgement. Yet his methods, discipline, and results slowly change how the team operates. People start adopting his habits without even realizing it, because efficiency has a way of attracting attention. In the end, the crowd moves in his direction even though he never stood in the front waving a flag. This ability to shape without forcing comes from a deep understanding of self. Sigma males are not distracted by the race for visibility. They know that real power lies in impact, not applause. The crowd eventually follows the one who quietly proves he knows the way forward. This is why their presence feels so mysterious yet commanding. They can remain in the background, but their influence travels forward, shifting people's choices, decisions, and actions. True strength does not always announce itself. Sometimes it moves like a shadow, unseen yet undeniable, guiding the crowd before they even realize who set the path. Number 8. They refuse to manipulate, yet their authenticity is what moves people the most. Have you ever noticed how manipulation can get people short-term results but rarely earns lasting respect? Most people can feel when they are being used, even if they cannot explain it. Sigma males stand apart because they refuse to manipulate, yet their authenticity is what moves people the most. They do not rely on tricks, mind games, or empty promises. Instead, they show up as they truly are. And that honesty becomes the very thing that draws others in. Think about friendships. We all know people who exaggerate stories or say what others want to hear just to gain approval. At first it works. They get laughs, attention, maybe even admiration. But over time, people start to feel the hollowness. Then there is the friend who never puts on a mask. He speaks the truth even when it is uncomfortable, but you trust him because you know he means what he says. That kind of honesty is rare, and it is the foundation of real influence. In the workplace, it is no different. Some try to climb the ladder by flattering bosses or undercutting co-workers. They might rise for a while, but their lack of integrity always catches up. The Sigma male, on the other hand, builds his reputation on authenticity. He does not need to manipulate situations because his results and reliability speak for themselves. People begin to depend on him, not because he played them, but because he proved he can be trusted. This is the paradox. Those who manipulate often lose the very respect they crave, while those who refuse to manipulate gain it naturally. Authenticity may not bring the fastest rewards, but it creates loyalty that cannot be faked. That is why Sigma males move people without even trying. Their strength is not in bending others to their will, but in living so honestly that others cannot help but be moved by it. In a world full of masks, the one who dares to be real will always stand out. Number 9. They move with quiet certainty, which makes people naturally fall in step without being asked. Have you ever noticed how some people do not need to tell others what to do, yet others end up following their lead anyway? That is the quiet power of Sigma males. They move with quiet certainty, and that steadiness makes people naturally fall in step without being asked. It is not about authority or control. It is about the way confidence without noise has a pull of its own. Picture a hiking trip with a group of friends. Everyone is debating which path to take. Voices overlap and confusion sets in. While the group argues, one person simply studies the trail, trusts his judgment, and starts walking with purpose. Without anyone announcing him as the leader, the group slowly begins to follow. Why? Because his certainty cut through their hesitation. His quiet conviction gave them something to anchor to. This happens in workplaces too. A team might be stuck in endless meetings, full of ideas but no action. While others keep circling around decisions, one person calmly starts executing a plan. He does not waste energy convincing or persuading, he simply acts with clarity. Soon others begin to align with him because people crave direction when uncertainty lingers. The beauty of this is that it is not forced. Sigma males do not pressure anyone to follow them. They do not need to. Human nature gravitates towards stability. When someone moves with quiet certainty, they make hesitation look small and confusion unnecessary. That is why people fall in step without even realizing they have done it. True leadership often looks like this. It is not the loudest voice that sets the direction, but the one who walks with unwavering confidence. Sigma males embody that. Their actions send a stronger message than any speech could, and because of that, they shape the path forward without demanding loyalty, only by showing it in motion. Well, number 10. They make choices based on clarity, not popularity, which makes others see them as the dependable compass. Have you ever noticed how some people make choices only to please others, even if those choices do not make sense? They go with the crowd, hoping to be accepted, but deep down they know they are not being true to themselves. Sigma males move differently. They make choices based on clarity, not popularity. And that is exactly why others begin to see them as the dependable compass when things get confusing. Think about it in everyday life. Imagine a group of friends deciding where to invest their money. Most are swayed by trends, following whatever looks glamorous at the moment. But one person takes the time to study, weigh the risks, and choose what actually makes sense. At first, his decision might look boring or even unpopular. Months later, when the trendy choices collapse, his steady judgment stands out. Suddenly, the same people who doubted him start seeking his advice. It is the same in families. Many parents pressure their children to take certain paths because everyone else is doing it. A Sigma male resists that pressure. He's not interested in what is trending, he's interested in what is right. His decisions may not win immediate applause, but they create long-term stability that others cannot deny. Over time, people lean on him because he has proven that clarity beats popularity every time. In workplaces too, this difference is clear. When teams face tough decisions, many employees vote for the easiest or most popular solution just to avoid conflict. The Sigma male, however, points toward the option that actually solves the problem, even if it is harder. His courage to stick with clarity builds trust because people realize he is not swayed by convenience or approval. This is why Sigma males become the compass others depend on. Not because they are perfect, but because their choices are rooted in thought, truth, and vision. In a world where many get lost chasing acceptance, the one who stands firm on clarity will always guide the way forward. Number 11, they think long-term while others are distracted by the moment, which makes their decisions feel like guidance. Have you ever noticed how most people get caught up in the moment, chasing quick wins or reacting to whatever feels urgent? It is easy to get lost in short-term thinking because the rewards look immediate, but often they fade just as quickly. Sigma males take a different path. They think long-term while others are distracted by the moment, and this is why their decisions often feel like guidance, not just for themselves, but for those watching them. Think about money, for example. Many people spend their income on the latest gadgets, flashy clothes, or nights out, only to regret it when real responsibilities show up. The Sigma male looks further down the road. He saves, invests, or builds skills that pay off in the future. At first, people may laugh at his simplicity or call him boring, but years later, when he is financially stable and they are struggling, his choices suddenly look like wisdom they wish they had followed. This also plays out in relationships. While some chase temporary excitement, the Sigma male thinks about the long-term impact of who he surrounds himself with. He values loyalty and growth over drama and instant gratification. The people around him may not understand his standards at first, but eventually they realize he avoids chaos because he plans for a future they were not even considering. The same thing happens in careers. Co-workers may jump from job to job looking for quick recognition or slightly higher pay. The Sigma male quietly builds mastery in his field, laying down a foundation that guarantees him influence and stability years later. When others burn out, he continues moving forward, proving that patience beats impulsiveness every single time. This is why his decisions carry weight. They're not clouded by the noise of the moment. They come from a mind that sees further ahead, and people naturally begin to treat that as guidance. In a world distracted by instant gratification, the one who thinks long-term becomes the map others did not even know they needed. Number 12. They are not obsessed with power, yet true power keeps circling back to them. Have you ever noticed how the ones who chase power the hardest are often the ones who lose it the fastest? They fight for control, they manipulate situations, and they push themselves to the front, but sooner or later people see through it. Sigma males do not waste their energy like that. They are not obsessed with power, yet true power keeps circling back to them. Why does this happen? Because real power does not come from chasing it. It comes from being the kind of person others trust when things get serious. Sigma males focus on mastering themselves instead of trying to control everyone else. And that self-mastery naturally makes them stronger than those who are obsessed with titles and authority. Think about it in everyday life. In a workplace, there are always people scrambling to impress the boss, competing for attention, and playing office politics. Then there is the one person who simply does the work with discipline and precision. He is not trying to outshine anyone, but when the team faces a real challenge, everyone turns to him. Why? Because his steadiness feels more reliable than the noisy ambition of the others. That is power, earned without chasing. It shows up in friendships too. Some people fight to dominate the group, always trying to be the loudest voice. But the Sigma male listens more than he speaks, and when he finally gives his perspective, it shapes the direction everyone takes. Influence finds him because people sense that his words and actions come from a deeper place, not from ego. This is why true power circles back to them. They do not grab for it, but their character, discipline, and clarity make them the natural choice when guidance is needed. The very thing others are desperate to hold on to is what Sigma males attract without trying. In the end, the lesson is simple. The more you chase power, the further it slips away. But when you focus on building strength within yourself, power cannot help but return to you again and again. Would you like me to now expand this into a sharper 350-word full script with layered storytelling that feels cinematic and keeps the audience hooked? Number 13. They remind people of what leadership really is, not control, but presence. Have you ever stopped to think about what leadership really means? Most people confuse it with control. They believe being in charge is about giving orders, dominating conversations, or holding authority over others. But Sigma males quietly remind people of a deeper truth. Leadership is not about control. It is about presence. It is about being so steady, so consistent, and so true to yourself that others naturally look to you when direction is needed. You can see this in everyday life. Imagine a family going through a crisis. Emotions are high, people are arguing, and no one knows what to do next. Then one person steps in without raising his voice. He listens, he steadies the room, and he lays out a clear way forward. He does not need to control anyone. His calm presence alone is enough to restore order. That is leadership in its purest form. It is the same in workplaces. Some managers try to control every detail, micromanaging until the team feels suffocated. A Sigma male approaches it differently. He sets the standard with his own actions, showing discipline, clarity, and focus. His presence does more than any rules or threats ever could. People follow him because they trust him, not because they are forced to. Even in friendships, this truth stands out. When a group is unsure, the Sigma male does not demand to be heard. He listens, then speaks with thought and precision. His words carry weight because they are grounded in presence, not ego. And just like that, others naturally follow his direction. This is what makes Sigma males unforgettable. They embody the truth that real leadership cannot be faked. It is not in the loudness of your voice or the size of your title, but in the strength of your presence. When you are grounded, calm, and authentic, people will see you as a leader, even if you never claim the role. Would you like me to now expand this into a 350-word script with deeper illustrations that feels powerful enough to grip your audience from start to finish? In final words, have you ever wondered why the ones who never chase leadership often end up being the ones people trust the most? That is the quiet truth about Sigma males. They are not busy trying to prove themselves or fighting for a crown, yet their strength, focus, and discipline naturally set them apart. While others chase titles and attention, they live in a way that earns respect without ever asking for it. Leadership, in its purest form, has never been about forcing people to follow. It is about being someone others can rely on when things get uncertain. Sigma males show us that by staying grounded, thinking long-term, and making choices based on clarity, you can influence more lives than any loud voice or flashy title ever could. Their example is proof that true authority is not taken. It is recognized. And here is where it becomes personal for you. You do not need to beg for recognition or fight to be noticed. If you commit to growth, discipline, and authenticity, people will see it. They will look to you, not because you demanded it, but because your actions made it impossible to ignore. So the question is, will you spend your energy chasing approval, or will you build yourself into someone worth following? The world does not need more noise or shallow leadership. It needs people with quiet strength, steady vision, and the courage to live by what is right. That is the kind of presence that moves people, the kind of leadership that finds you even when you never asked for it. Thank you for watching, Gents, and God bless you.